Hello everyone and welcome once again to the channel, and in this video I'll be demonstrating how you can make use of implicit intent in your Android applications. So before starting with the tutorial, let's have a look at what an implicit intent is, right? So here let's have a look at the explanation here. Okay, and so an intent is essentially something like a message passing object, like a messaging object. So your Android application needs to know what comes next, right? Like where to go from here. Like for example, you have a button on your uh, you have a button on your Android application, and you directly want to redirect the user from the app to the company website. So the user can click on the button, be directly redirected to the website, right? Or with a click of a button, be redirected to the location of the company's office, or maybe immediately click and be connected with the customer care with of the company, right? So the app needs to have all this functionality. So how do we tell the application to do that? The answer is implicit intent. So for the purposes of this video, we'll only be having a look at implicit intent. So with an implicit intent, you can achieve tasks such as directly dialing a call, map location, opening a web page. You can even be looking how you can even be opening the camera application from your app, directly redirecting the user to the camera application from your original application. Great. So now that we've understood what an implicit intent is and how it functions and how you can do these tasks, let's look at the demonstration. So so starting with the tutorial, let's look at this demonstration. So I have a very basic Android application here. It has three buttons, one for the web browser, one to make calls, and one to show the map, right? So now, as you can see in my code, I have mentioned Amazon and the telephone number as this and the geo coordinates as this. So when I click on the web browser button, I'm redirected to the Amazon website directly from my application. And now going back to my app, when I click on make calls, I'm redirected to the phone application of the device, and the number that I entered here is directly entered here, and it's as simple as clicking on the call button to make the call. So yeah, and for the third one, if I click on show map, I can see directly the maps application has launched. So this was the demonstration on how you can use implicit intent. So let's get ahead. Let's start and code this out. So first of all, let's close this and let's open up a new project. Let's call it empty activity should do, and let's call it intent demo. Okay, looks good. And we'll close the old window. Yeah, so we have our activity underscore main and our main activity. So in our main activity, first of all, we can go ahead and add our three buttons, right? So we just need to change the layout to have let's just change it to linear layout, have the buttons one below the other, and yeah, great. So this is done. Now let's just remove this text view and add our three buttons. So it's a button, and let's just set this as just match parent, and we can set this as wrap content. Good. And let's give this an ID, right? So because we want to distinguish this in our main activity code. So Android ID equal to @ maybe let's just let's just increase this to 18 so that it's easier for everyone to see, right? Yeah, so wrap content, let's set an id here as @ +id, and let's just call it btn browser. Okay, @+id btn browser. Okay, that looks good. And yeah, so for the next thing, what we want to do is we want to add Android text. Let's just add some text on the top of a button, right? So Android text browser, and we need, every button needs to have an on click, right? So that we know what the button is supposed to do. So on click, and just call this on click browser. Yeah, so now this is an error because this on click doesn't actually exist right now, which we'll be typing this out in our main activity. So let's just copy paste this and paste it. Yeah, so we should have our 3 buttons ready at least. Like, you can have a look at the design. Yeah, okay, so they're all overlapped, so we just need to rearrange them. And yeah, so they all obviously cannot have the same id, right? So I'll just have call this one calls, and let's call this one maps. Okay, and this is supposed to go to on click calls, and this goes to on click maps. Okay, let's call this calls, and let's call this maps. All right, and we just need to change the orientation here to vertical. There we go. Yeah, so this looks good. Now let's go ahead with our main activity. So here the code is also very straightforward. We just need those methods that we wrote, right? So we have public on, was it, yeah, we need to write the return type, public void on click browser, was it, and view. So we just need to import this right now. Alt enter, import. Okay, so this is gone. Okay, so we entered that correctly, and what needs to happen is we just need to redirect, right? So intent I equal to new intent, and this is this intent dot action view, and we need to pass a URI dot pass, and let's just have this as http://www.amazon.com. Okay, hopefully that URL is correct. So start activity I. Yeah, this is how simple this is. That's it. And okay, so let's copy this method. We'll rename things to make this process faster. On click calls, and so this needs to action dial, right? So action dial, and let's just enter the number here. Any, could be anything. So it's 919. Yeah, so this is a random number that I've entered. And okay, now what we need to do is Yeah, so let's rename it. Two methods can't have the same name. Okay, and action underscore view again, since we need to redirect to maps. So redirect URI.pass, and this needs to be called geo, right? So geo, and just enter randomly 8 to okay. So this looks good to go, right? So let's run it and check. So the Gradle is building. This could take a little time. Okay, the install is complete. Great, we have our intent demo application. Now if we click on browser, it should redirect us to the Amazon website. Great, this is working. Hopefully this should make us okay. So there is a problem with our calls, so we need to fix that immediately. And if we click on show map, okay, show map works as expected. Okay, that's right. So calls, okay, this is our earlier app. Where is intent demo? Okay, here we have intent demo here. If you click on maps, okay, it does take us correctly. If you click on calls, okay, so it doesn't work with calls. So let's check what we've done incorrectly for calls. So intent on click calls, right? Have we called this correctly? On click calls. Just copy this. Yeah, it's the same. So don't know why the problem exists. Let's just try this. Great, so it's complete. Let's click on calls. Okay, so the calls seems to not be functioning. Maybe I need to rebuild the program, right? So let's clean the project as well. Okay, let's run. Oh, right. I have not mentioned tell here. Obviously, it's a pretty blatant error. I need to mention tell. Great, now it should work as expected. Okay, if I click on calls, great, it's successfully redirecting us to the calls application with this number that we entered here. So yeah, so as you see that all our implicit intent is functioning correctly, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any doubts, please feel free to write them in the comments below, and you can also reach me out on my email address, which is mentioned in the about section on my YouTube channel. And great, so please like this video, subscribe to the channel. It really motivates me to create more content. And once again, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. If you could subscribe, it would mean a lot. So thanks again for watching.